It's the last of my Wingnut Wing kits to review. I've been holding off because there's something quite sad about knowing that this is the last Wingnut Wings kit you're ever likely to purchase. So there's a small possibility I might get another Wingnut Wings kit if I come across a bargain one day, but the actual likelihood is I'm not going to get another one, and therefore this is the last addition to the Wingnut Wings section of my stash. Let's have a look at it. Hello and welcome to Model Kit Stuff. Yes, Wingnut Wings, we love them, and this is the DFW C.V mid-production. This is probably the most involved of the 3 Wingnut Wings kits that I've got, and I'm looking forward to getting to grips with what's inside here. But before we do, let's do it properly and let's talk about the box. So it's a typical standard Wingnut Wings box, which is to say it's lovely. The artwork is lovely. You've got this aircraft in action. There's another one there behind it. There's a dogfight going on with a British aircraft. It's really, really nice. It tells us it's 1/32 scale, as Wingnut Wings kits were. It says it's a high quality scale model kit set because Wingnut Wings were never modest about how good they were. And it's just lovely. You could frame that and it would be a piece of art in its own right. The sides of the box pretty much emulate what's going on the front. We have a kit number though on the side, which is 32040, which is 32 scale kit 40. And then on this side we have a little bit of information. It says high quality model kit, warning of choking hazards, contains parts to assemble 1 scale model aircraft. Alternative parts and decals for multiple versions included, which is always good. And then on this side we have a little bit of history, and we have our paint options. Now it says here that the DFW C.V was arguably the single most important German aircraft of the First World War. The entire reason for military aviation at the time was to support the war on the ground, and the most significant way to do this was through reconnaissance and artillery observation. So there we go. So what you'll notice with the 3 very distinct paint options is that you get slight differences. You get differences in the gun, and you get differences in the engine. Look at that thing, it looks like a rhino or something like that. And that's the one I'm likely to do because it's beautiful deep red colour with a go faster stripe. The Balkan crosses, really nice. So let's just go through them. We've got April to May 1917, Habersham. We've got September 1917, Kurt Vesser ? We've got April 1917, Hans Huberts and Frederick Hummmuller, Newmuller, I'm not quite sure. 1917 to early 1918, and it says grenade, there's no name attached to that. And then here, this last one, it says 1917 to early 18, FA8282 stripes. So not quite sure what some of that means, but anyway, there we have it. Let's have a look at our instructions. So here we have our instructions. Again, a typical Wingnut Wings document, made to look a little bit period. They were really the pioneers of instructions that went beyond a simple instruction manual. We have an extension of the history that was on the side of the box, and then we have some specifications of the aircraft there, and then we have some references, which includes the Krakow Museum in Poland. and then when we open this up, we've got some instructions here, some warnings, assembly instructions, and then it says here highlighted in red, hints and tips. Please visit our website for additional photos, hints and tips to assist you in getting the best results from your Wingnut Wings model. The website is still up, so you can go in, you can download the images and keep them on your hard drive for when you're building, but most of what you get on the website is actually included in your instructions. Then we've got our building key, and then we've got our list of paints, and they are calling out Tamiya, Humbrol, and then the Federal Standard. So as always, there is some paints that you're going to have to mix, and the Humbrol ones, there's usually a couple that are sort of missing, but I'm sure you could mix some paints to get there. So yeah, really nice, clear information as always from Wingnut Wings. Then you get the sprue map, which is, I've always considered a little bit pointless from Wingnut Wings because you've not got any numbers on it. So it's really an exercise in, this is what you've got, check your box contents, and these are the things you're not going to need. So if you wish, remove them now, and then you're clear. And sometimes I do that, not always. Sometimes I go in and nip off all that stuff to avoid any confusion. And I know exactly what I've got for my spares bin there. Always some propellers in the spares, which is good. And then the sprue map carries on. It tells us we've got some photo-etch there, and also that we've got a decal sheet and what that should look like. So at a glance you can tell if there's anything missing or incorrect. So our build is the usual Wingnut Wings style, where you have a section one where you build up several stages. It's not a single step, several stages taking you from point A to point B with the flow of the arrows. There is commentary, there is paint instructions, there is build instructions, all in there. So it's quite immersive. It's worth reading through carefully what you've got to do a couple of times before you get stuck in. But as always with a Wingnut Wings kit, you're starting off right from the start with part cleanup, then detail painting, and it's a lovely experience. But you can see here we've got a bomb rack to put in, which means we've got to build up the bomb rack. They're showing us what that looks like, albeit in black and white, but they are showing us. And it said, whilst not very good print, this photograph does show the internal bomb rack for and bombs fitted in the DFW C.V, although they were frequently removed depending on mission requirements. So yeah, additional weight, I guess. If you don't need them, don't take them. So yeah, really interesting. We've got some nice close-up pictures. We're putting decals on and we're doing detail painting right from the off. Which personally I love. It's not everyone's cup of tea, but I love it. And then by the end of step one, we've basically got the floor pan and three bulkheads put together. Then when we flip her over, we continue with the interior detailing. So we've got seat cushions going in, ammunition magazines, the engine bearers being mounted into place, and again with telling you everything that is. No doubt that's just basic wood. Then we've got the photo-etch seat harnesses going in and hanging down, and then it gives you the overall finished paint scheme at this point as well. And there's also a little bit of rigging to go in, so more complex than the go-to that I'm doing in terms of the internal rigging. There was very little of that really. So you see both angles and you're painting things up, so will look really lovely at this stage. Building it up like this really gets you excited for the next steps, but you're doing quite a bit of the detail work right here at the start. Step 3, more interior. This time we've got the framing going on and making sure that's all in, painted as well. And then once the frame's in, we've got more detailed parts going in, which includes this hand grip, So there's two different types of hand grip, and we're removing one and adding another. So that's interesting. We've got the bomb aimer's stick going in there. We've got the machine gun mount, depending on what version you're building. It gives you the options, all nice and clear. And then step 4, we get to the engine, which suggests that we're pretty much done with the interior. So step 4, it's a 230 horsepower Benz engine. So slightly different to the ones I've built before, I think. Yeah, looks that a little bit different. But you've got, again, options depending on what you're doing. Lots of detail painting. We've got decals going on as well. So manufacturer's plaques and the like. And then with the engine done and installed, we can go to the fuselage. So a little bit of modifications to do to the fuselage. And then we are putting that first half in, adding the second half. So that completes step 5. More detailed photographs, many of them from crashed versions. Step 6, we carry on with the fuselage. So we've got some underneath sections to put in, and then we've got the pilot's area going in just behind the engine there. The radiator water pipes are being added, and then we're building up our machine gun. So again, depending on which paint option you're going with, I'm going with E, so I'll be doing that one. Depends on which gun you're using. More prominently, the barrel is different. So then we've got engine and winter cowlings. So yeah, so you can really have a choice whether you want to put the cowlings on or not. They're an odd thing that they actually sometimes detract from the aircraft, and they also hide your engine. So depends on how you want to model it. I'm likely to leave mine off if I can, but we will see. But you've got the instructions there for adding cowlings should you wish to. Then in step 8, we're going to radiators and nose detail. So radiators on each side there. You can see with and without cowlings on. So you could part cowling it depending on what you want to do. You've got different options, which is nice. Step 9, and we're dealing with the tail, building up the tail, the usual one-piece tail. That all looks good. Looks like there's a little bit of trimming to do. Remove nail detail for definitely for A and possibly for the others. And then 10, we're adding bottom wings and struts. Okay, and that all looks good. And then when we get to 11, we're putting the top wing on, which appears to be a single piece. So yeah, very nice. And then we've got the undercarriage in step 12 going on, which looks like solid rear hub, separate front hub. So it should be nice and easy to paint. That should be taking us close to the end. Then we've got the propeller, again, different styles depending on which aircraft you're doing. But most of them appear to be that particular one there. You'd have to read it to understand what Astra, Wolf and Wotan mean, because I'm not sure that I do. Well, I'm sure I don't. So one or two bits of detail going in around the engine, bits that could be knocked off. So yeah, all good. So I'm guessing that is the exhaust taking out above the top wing, so it's not getting in the pilot's face, which is probably a good idea. And then 14, observer's armament, so secondary armament at the rear there. Again, options depending on which version you're doing. some nice close-up pictures of it. And that is pretty much the end of the build. Not quite, but pretty much. We have a rigging diagram then, which we can see here. It's all the same scale thickness of material, and it shows you clearly in blue where they should be going. You've got a lower wing view, an upper wing, underside view, and then we've got some decal instructions at the bottom of the page there. And then on 15 we've got optional accessories. So these are things that you could put in there. So we've got different styles of cameras, a first aid kit, homing pigeon box, step ladder or ladder for getting in and out. So that gives you some options for displaying it maybe. The teddy bear, which I always think's a nice touch, and a barograph, whatever that is, and different types of flare pistols. So some nice optional extras. Then we get to our paint schemes, which include the decal schemes. So we've got upper surfaces, including upper surface of the lower wing, lower surfaces, and one side profile view. So I guess it's mirrored on either side. So that's our first paint scheme, which has that sort of purple green camouflage. Then our second scheme, which is more complicated, with the sort of mottled brick red brown upon green scheme, with the is that white, or maybe it's natural material. Let's just have a look at O, because I'm intrigued. O, bleached linen, yeah, so it is natural. And then that shows you some options. So C1 is a variation of that. So the paint scheme is the same, the aircraft is the same, but it's got slightly different markings. Then as we go over, we've got paint scheme D, which again, we've got the red, brown, green, but in a much more simple camouflage pattern and a different tail colour. So looks really nice. And then we've got E, which is the one I think I'm going to do because it's so different to anything else, which is this brick red colour. And then the rest, which is all over brick red. It is underneath the wings, although they don't show it very clearly because you've got no wing shot unless we see that in a sec. It's showing it as the bleached linen, but it's not actually pointing that out as a colour to be painted. So yeah, so all the others have had an underside. This one doesn't. Yeah, looks very nice. Looks very nice, very different. So, and there's some pictures of the downed aircraft here. And it looks, whether it's wet, it's been raining, I don't know, but it looks very glossy to me, that. You see on the wings there. Possibly a wet shot. And then we got some more pictures. Then we talk about the people who pulled all of this together. So that's all very nice. And then at the end we've got our list of parts. Job done. Okay, our decal sheet now, and we've got lots to go at here. So they're all cartographed, so we know they're going to be great. They were produced in 2013, so one of the older kits from Wingnut Wings. But we've got lots and lots of little details here for bombs and engine stencils, all sorts of bits and pieces. We can see dials, makers marks, propeller labels, whole host of things, first aid kit badge, tons and tons of decals here, all clearly marked out, nicely spaced out in the main. We've got some strips here, which I'm guessing are the little tape ribbons that you put on the wings. Yeah, and then we've got all our little markings for that red version, so that's what I'll be using. But yeah, and this gives you some nice period decals for other builds in the future. So yeah, very nice set of decals. First sprue out of the box is our wings. I'm sort of doing this in reverse order so I can repack the box the way it was. Solid wings as always with Wingnut Wings. Lovely crisp moulding with lovely texturing, and we've got our little tape mark positions all on there. Lovely scalloped edge, as thin as you like. Really, really nice. All our sprue gates are a decent thickness to make it easy to sand down. You're not likely to find the part breaking. It's sturdy. So sometimes the designer can try and be clever and make the sprue gate as small as possible. We're much more likely to get the part breaking off there and cause damage. So the good thick sprue gates here are appropriate. So really, really nice. Lovely detailing. We've got positions for the rigging marked out. Very, very nice. Not quite sure what that is on the end, whether that's supposed to be there or not. I suspect not, but I don't know for sure. And then we've got our little biscuit fittings here. So I think that must be the lower wing, and this must be ends of the upper wing, and we've got a center section to build, maybe. I thought it was one solid piece from the instructions, but clearly it is not. But that doesn't go into there clearly, so we've got another section of wing somewhere. But yeah, really nice. I'll take some photos as we go, and you can see each section as we get to it. But perfect. Sprue B, and we've got our two fuselage halves here and some other fuselage parts. So this is our pilot's area, and this goes underneath the nose there. And then we've got some of the engine covers, the winter cowlings. We've got various little vents. All of them are hollow. It's a beautiful bit of moulding. Yeah, really, really nice. No flash or anything in them, as crisp as you like. Then we've got our spinner, the backing plate for the spinner there. Our undercarriage legs, which are nicely done. I mean, look at the beautiful little details on there. It's just stunning. Then we've got our machine gun rings. Looks like we've got two options there. I think so. I don't think the two mount together. I don't think it's two halves. Not much detail on the inside, but that's because it all gets built up from the inside and then inserted in. There is some very gentle ejector pin marks, some raised, some countersunk, so some work will have to be done on that, but work out what's visible and what's not first. And then we've got our machine gun options, without or with etch, depending on which way you want to roll, and the fittings for it, different gun ends and so on. So all very, very nice. I'll take some detail photos for this. Lovely. Sprue L, and we've got our floor pan, I think, and the undercarriage section as well. Yep. We've got some of the, not quite sure what they are, some form of spars. This is the brace for the undercarriage, so the aerodynamic spacing bar for that the wheels will end up going on. We've got our control sticks, some tiny little details there. Fuel tank, yeah, very nice. Right, this is M and N that are joined together here. So we've got the tail here and the ailerons, and I think that is part of the underside of the fuselage. The nail detail on here is absolutely exquisite. I have never seen anything like it. It is just stunning. How they've done that, I have no idea. That is just, I've not seen moulding like that before. That's what makes everyone say Wingnut Wings is the best. That's incredible. Yeah, you'd struggle to get that even in resin. I don't know how they've done that. It's amazing. Then we've got our little tail sections there. Lovely texturing on it all. Very, very nice. We've got, what we've got there, not quite sure what that is. That's that little handle for the pilot. More struts, some pipe work, the exhaust system there that goes on towards the end of the build. So I'll take some photos for you to see. Right, sprues H, I, J, K and O on this one, and what we've got is different sort of engine cowlings here. So there's slight subtle differences with all of them. They've got different vent doors, so there's lots of different options in there. Got different manifold layout for there, and then we've got slightly different cowling rings there, so lots of differences for the different types of aircraft. And I've got to say, they look so alike unusual models and alike unusual subjects, and this makes it look quite unusual because you'd have all your exhaust pipes coming out of there. We've also got some propellers and different pipework arrangements for the manifold, some small parts as well, and what have you. And that I have no idea what that is. So yeah, lots of different options in there. Some of them, quite a few of them actually, you won't end up using depending on which way you go. But I don't throw away Wingnut Wings parts. I keep them as spares. So if I ever build the same kit from a different manufacturer, I've always got something possibly better to swap out with. But yeah, I mean, they're just stunning. There's nothing wrong with them. They're all crisp. There's no flash. There's no sink. I mean, you just don't get parts that are made this well by anyone else, really, do you? Some people come close, but no one's quite managed the finesse of Wingnut Wings yet. Well, the parts just keep coming sprue A now, and we've got lots of the internal detail parts here. So we've got the external frame of the internal part of the build, which is really nicely moulded in one piece. Lots of detail on the inside. Some ejector pin marks to sort out, but par for the course, unfortunately. We've got a machine gun there, we've got more floor pan, we've got bulkheads which are nice and busy with cables and wire runs, and the dial faces. We've got the seat with the back cushion there, which has got some lovely texturing. We've got, I can feel the raised rivets in there, it's just lovely. Nice cushion there with a nice quilted buttoned texture on it, and we can see where it's material, we can see stitching, we can see it being pulled taut. It's really, really nice. This is our frame for those bombs that go in right at the start of the build. Yeah, really nice. Pedals, our machine gun option with etch, and then lots of little detailed pipe work and the like. Flip that over, you can see this is the ejected side, so there's lots of ejection pins on this side, lots and lots and lots of them. I'm guessing they're all hidden, or most of them are hidden, but yeah, they're all slightly indented, so they're all fillers rather than sandaways. But yeah, very nice. Yeah, lovely. Sprue G, and this is sort of our additional added extra parts, if you like. So we've got cameras, we've got radio sets, we've got weather equipment, ladders, more propeller options, various different fittings for all sorts of things in here. Ammunition belt, we've got our flare guns and different types of flares. Looks like a fire extinguisher or some form of gas bottle, maybe an oxygen tank. More camera options, and step ladder front and back, and then just a straight ladder. First aid kit and so on. So some of these would never be used in this aircraft. It's a generic sprue that they use, but even though it's a sprue more often produced than the actual kit sprues, it's still nice and clean and crisp. There's no issues, there's no flash, and this gives you lots of wonderful options for future builds with other kits where you can use the cameras and things. Yeah, really nice, really, really nice. And just look at the finesse on the gun there with the little loop, so you could thread a little bit of thread on there and really animate even the tiniest of details. And of course we have our little teddy bear. So yeah, a really nice set of parts. Sprue E and another yet different sprue G, just to keep you on your toes, I'm guessing. We've got the engine clearly here, so we've got the main blockhead, the pistons there, and what looks like is that the bit that goes on the top, or is it the sump? Not sure. I'm guessing it's probably the sump goes underneath, I would think. But yeah, very nicely moulded, lots of detail, all the fasteners moulded in, just looks the part. Nice texturing there, which you can pick out with a wash. We've got our tappets to go on the top, so that's really nice. Some pipe work, our magnetos, yeah, all good. And then on this we've got more armament options. So with our little cassettes of ammunition, we've got ammunition separately, ammunition belts. Yeah, so lots of options there with guns and armaments, and plenty for your spares box. Still more parts coming, would you believe it? It's only going to be about that big, this thing. But yeah, this is sprue D, and we've got lots of little parts. I'm not quite sure what they are, although I think, yes, they're the radiators. By feeling them, I can feel there's radiators of different types there. They're all very finely textured. We've got our wing struts there, and then we've got one wheel with two different front-facing hubs. So we've got options there, square panel and a semicircle stitch, like horseshoe stitch. And then we've got more little panels, removable panels with louvre, which again is all hollow and beautiful with no flash, no cleanup. A couple of the bombs that we need to put in at the start of the build there. Really, really nicely moulded parts. There is wording on the sidewall of the tyres. It's just stunning. And there are two of those included in the kit. So now we've got our clear parts. We've got a lens for something or other, a little panel there, little section, so whether that goes in underneath so the pilot can look down is my guess. And then we've got a wind shield there for the pilot. Parts are lovely and clear, and there's virtually no distortion other than the edges, so it's perfectly done. Notice how you've only got one flow of plastic in there, so there's no spidering. Does look a little bit scuffed, but I might be wrong. Yeah, it's not scuffed. Don't know what that is. But yeah, lovely and clear. They're okay. They're okay. I'm holding back from saying they're excellent because this one looks a little bit cloudy. I mean, it's real nitpicking. It's real serious nitpicking. You put that on, no one's going to know anything other than you can see through it. But yeah, they're as good as you're gonna get, I think. Well, finally, our last thing to look at is the photo etch. We've got our seat harnesses there for both aircraft, and then we've got the cooling jackets for the two different types of machine gun, or three different types depending on which one you build. Yeah, very, very nice. Because this is an earlier fret of photo etch, the Wingnut Wings logo is embossed, but it's not separate, so you can't like take it out as a little plaque. And I think this little thing here you don't use. Yeah, nice. Well, there you have it. The Wingnut Wings DFW C.V mid-production. What's my first impression? The Wingnut Wings kits are just incredible. So, you know, there is nothing in there that I go, oh, they could do that better, or I wish they hadn't done that, or I'd like them to do it a different way. There is nothing about this. Everything has been considered. The model has been considered. The aircraft detail has been pushed in there. The instructions are clear and fairly simple. to follow. Most of this is plastic parts, so although it's a time-consuming build, if you choose not to rig it, anyone that's got a handful of models under their belt could tackle this, because even where there is photo etch, there's an option for no photo etch, so it doesn't matter your skill level. Wingnut Wings, I just think they do such a brilliant job, and I'm hoping that maybe I'll come across another one of their kits as a bargain one day, but for now, this is the last Wingnut Wings kit, and I can't wait to build it, but at the same time, I sort of want to put it off, because I always want to know in the back of my head that I've always got an option to do a Wingnut Wings kit. And there's something that just feels right about, I could always do that Wingnut Wings kit, but let's not, because then you haven't got that option anymore. So will I build it? Absolutely, I'm going to build it. When am I going to build it? Absolutely no idea. But when I do, I will build it on this channel. Thanks for looking in. You enjoy your modelling. If you enjoyed this, then consider donating £1 or £2 to the channel. You can hit the super thanks underneath the video. All money that is collected goes into the channel so that we can get these special kits and review them for your pleasure and build them for your pleasure. Take care, and I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.